You're watching an RH Reality Check production brought to you by rhrealitycheck.org.
We have a group of 10 women called the Social Justice Sisters, and we're supporting reproductive justice in Kentucky and trying to reframe the debate to include abortion rights as part of larger health issues for women and not just a Christian moral issue. And Loretta is one of the outstanding experts in the world, as far as I know, to talk about reproductive justice.
Well, part of the reason that women have their human rights violated is often related to their lack of educational and economic opportunities. When a woman has an opportunity for a job or for an education, she's pretty efficient at regulating her reproduction so that she can actually take advantage of those things. And so we find the high rates of STDs and teen pregnancy and even violence against women in those parts of the country like Kentucky, where women have the fewer economic and educational opportunities. It's not useful to isolate abortion from all the other health issues that a woman has to deal with. In fact, before a woman even decides whether or not to have a child, she has this oh my God moment when she first thinks she's pregnant, where she's wondering about whether she has health care, whether she can keep her job, whether she'll get battered by her boyfriend or husband if she tells him she's pregnant. And so we call those issues that are ahead of the decision the human rights issues that she has to deal with before she even gets to the decision to have or to not have the child. And so we don't like the fact that abortion is separated, is isolated from all those other human rights issues. And so we like to use the human rights framework as the basis for what we call reproductive justice, to talk about if you take care of health care, if you take care of economic justice and the environment and violence against women, then women are going to be free from coercion or deprivation to make the best decisions for themselves. Because the worst thing in the world is for a woman to have to choose to have an abortion of a child she really wanted, but she couldn't afford. I am so sick of fighting what I call the 19th century battles for women's rights and for civil rights. I'm so sick. I'm ready for the Civil War to be over. I'm ready for the women's movement to be over. I'm ready to be able to take my human rights for granted, and I haven't gotten there yet.
Have you seen the situation improve since you started the fight?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was the director of the first rape crisis center in this country. I was the third executive director. And that was only in 1972 when that center was founded. And I've seen a global movement to end violence against women grow. And the same thing is happening with reproductive health and justice issues as well. Women are bringing their demand to control their reproduction out of the closet. We are also learning that there is a link between, for example, family planning and poverty. It doesn't make sense to provide birth control pills or any other contraceptive devices to a woman in a society that lacks basic health care. There's just so much wrong with isolating family planning as a whole and abortion in particular from all the other human rights and reproductive health issues.
Loretta's challenged us to find our common ground with people who might not share all our views. And that's the only way we're going to move the discussion in Kentucky, because this state is a red state, but there are probably some good folks in there, and that's what Loretta says. We need to be in dialogue with the people who don't share our views so that we can understand what it is and try to persuade them that it's a justice issue to have clinics. Right now we only have 2 clinics in Kentucky. Some women in Kentucky are 6-8 hours away by car. The legislature wants them to come twice, one time to hear information, one time. That's a disproportionate impact on women in rural areas because of the distance they have to come. It's a disproportionate impact on poor women. So it might be a moral choice for those women, and we honor that, but the policy is unjust.
And it's all about the banning of of abortion, but more importantly, I think the banning of abortion, when you couple that with the absence of fact-based sex education, the increasing attacks on contraceptives, it really is about a small clique of white men trying to control the fertility of all women in this country. But I want us to go a little bit further too. I think the feminist movement stops short when it is about controlling women, but the control of women is the pathway to control communities.
That's really good.
Okay, so we can never decouple the woman from the community in which she is embedded.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that our entire population strategy by the right is to force young and ill-educated young white women to have more babies. That's the only outcome that their constellation of policies can produce. I'm not convinced that they really want more black and brown babies, though. I mean, when you think of what happens to our children once they're here, you're not convinced that they want more of them. And I think that if they could figure out a way to restrict abortion so that white women couldn't access it, they would send limousines to take black and brown women to the clinics. So I think that our movement makes a mistake by not looking at the racial dynamics of our reproductive politics, as well as going beyond the gender dynamics to look really at what is happening to whole communities that are subjected to these policies.